The moment my 4-year-old grandson arrives at my house, he is barefoot. His shoes don't even make it out of the car. He loves to dig for treasures in the freshly tilled soil of our garden and slide his toes into the gushy mud at the edge of the pond. So by the time it's time to come in for lunch, ain't no way that boy's bringing those feet into the house. And so we have this routine, he and I. Since the time he could walk, I scoop him up at the doorway and carry him in, and set him on the counter, wash his feet in some warm, soapy water. It's what we do, he and I. And he tells me all about his adventures while I rinse his feet clean. Tonight, the story that we remember has the disciples arriving for supper with Jesus after a long day of being outside, barefoot, or nearly so if they were wearing sandals, the dust of the road still clinging to their feet. They don't seem to mind as they plop down at the table and begin to eat. While they're eating, Jesus gets up. He takes off his outer robe. He wraps a towel around his waist. He pours water into a basin. He makes his way around the table to wash the feet of those he loves. Until Peter, can you just feel his astonished protest? You're going to do what? For me? No way. And I get it. If you were to come to my house barefoot and spend the day in the garden and fishing, I might offer you a hose. Well, I ain't gonna wash your feet before you come in for lunch. And you wouldn't let me, right? Because that's kind of awkward, right? We don't yet have that kind of relationship. The relationship that I have with my grandson was born before he was. I prayed for him. I felt the tiny kicks of his feet when he was yet being knit together in his mother's womb. I marveled at his tiny toes the day that I met him. I'm his grandma, and he is my little guy. And I love him fully. And he knows it because he experiences my love for him. For love is known by experience. My copy of the chapter 13 of John, verse 1 says this. It was just before the Passover feast. Jesus knew the time had come for him to leave this world and go to the Father. And having loved his own who were in the world, he now showed him the full extent of his love. There's an intimacy in sharing this meal that is deepened by Jesus washing the feet of those he loved. He demonstrated his love for them and invited them into a deeper relationship to fully experience his selfless love for them, to recline against his chest and whisper questions in their confusion, to eat of his bread and drink of his cup and hear the words that still ring in our ears this very night. Do this in remembrance of me. Ours is an invitational God, inviting us to remember the full extent of his love. He invites you into a deeper, intimate relationship by washing you clean, feeding you of his body and his blood, knowing you fully and loving you so completely that you are compelled to return his love by sharing his love with those around you. This is what Maundy Thursday is all about. Christ's mandate for us, his beloved, to go, to love as fully, as completely, as selflessly as he loves us. And so maybe, if you come to my house barefoot, I should wash your feet.